Now look, this is a short drill. It should be done longer than this, but because it's a short video, I'm going to make this quicker than it should be. So at first you have to learn this static. So what you do is you take one aspect of what you're doing. So let's say I want to punch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to practice punches on all angles. I'm going to move my feet all the time. What I don't do is stay here and go like this, because that's silly. What I want to do is I want to move my feet, and every time I do something, I want to change angles, change my footwork, change my directions, and just experiment with all the targets, all the angles, everywhere I'm going. Then what you do is you do something separate, like elbows, right? So I'm going to go elbow to elbow to elbow to elbow to whatever I want to do, and I'm going to mix them up and throw as many different elbows as I can. Then what you do is you put them together. Now this is hard because punch range and elbow range are not the same, right? This is punch range, but if you notice, I can't reach him with an elbow. So what do people do? They go like this, which is terrible. I'm at punch range. I'm now at elbow range. So what you have to learn to do is punch, step to elbow range, punch, step back to punch range. People struggle with this because they don't want to move their feet. So what you're trying to learn is how to find the distance for what I want to throw. And you should always be moving these feet, always. Now, for the sake of time, I'm not going to go into every set of techniques. You should do them all separately and then put them together, but let's add something else. So let's add open hands. Go open hand, right? We're going to go to back fists, punches, elbows, forearms. And you're going to start mixing them up. And every one of them has a different distance. And it's important that you go into that distance properly. You know, everything. Wrist strikes, right? Palms, elbows, fists, forearms, shoulders, whatever. Mix it all up. Mix, mix, mix. And you want to get a flow to where you feel like you can throw any of them, not dominated by any one particular thing. Then, again, after you've done kicks separately, you add kicks in again. Now here's where it gets really interesting, because I have punch range, elbow range, kick range. So when I throw a kick, I now have to step in to punch range, and I have to step to elbow range. Now from there, whatever you want to do. You could step back to kick range. You could step back to punch range. You could step back in for another elbow range. It doesn't matter. You just want to mix it. You always want to get used to throwing techniques that are done from different distances so that you get used to transferring between all the critical distances. It's not enough to stay at one distance and try and throw all your techniques from a distance that they don't work at. When you get better with that, so say you've added your style does joint locking, right, or whatever. What you do is you start adding those together. You hit, elbow, you kick, you come into the joints, right? We work into these, and then we go to here. Now, this is like heavy bag work. This isn't a fight. Please don't send me the you never fight like this, because I'm not fighting like this. It's a drill to teach critical distance with a compliant partner. So I work from joint locks to strikes to kicks to elbows or forearms or whatever I want to do. It doesn't really matter. And you want to play with that. And then when you get better with that, you want a moving heavy bag. I would do this in a bigger space, but I have limited camera space, so we're doing small. He starts walking at it, and I start moving as he walks, and he walks anywhere he wants, right? And I start playing with how to do this on a movement as he moves around. So now I have a moving heavy bag, right? It's not Anyone can do it static, but people struggle with distance when they're just staying put, right? Like they have wrong distances, and they have to correct that and learn distance. But then all of a sudden, now he's moving. So now the distance gets really freaky because, you know, you're so uncomfortable with the distance you're at. Now he comes at me, I'm gonna have to change what I'm throwing just because of the distance he came at. So as he moves around, and I start playing with distance, I start hitting him. Also, what's nice is, do you see how he's turning around and he's moving, so he's not just giving me this target all the time? So now you're moving with distance, different techniques, different angles of the body because of where he moved, and because he's moving around, he's screwing with your distance, you have to have time. That's important. So eventually, you should work to, say like he punches at me, right? And now, he's punching at me again, and now we're doing the same drill, except he throws different things at me. Punch, kick, I don't care, right? And what's happening is now we're starting to play with all this stuff. A little more live. As it progresses, he'll add in eventually grabs, right? Or maybe he'll grab onto me and I gotta learn how to kind of work with him from the grabs. And it's just a progression. To learn really good distance and footwork and time, you gotta start with the first one where you hit non-moving targets, go to moving targets with resistance, and eventually it picks up more than that. But a really good way, like I said, to do it is to isolate what you're doing first, and then isolate something else, and then add them together. And you just got to keep layering them. This is a long-term process. You're not going to learn this overnight. You know, over years of layering your kicks and elbows, and forearms and punches and everything together, you'll get really good at them. But at first, it's going to feel really awkward because distances will be wrong, and you're not sure what you should throw, and that's okay. But you gotta do this. Otherwise, you just turn into this where he comes at you with one standard set attack and I attack him back, and you never learn anything. So play around and experiment with it. You'll be a much better martial art. You'll be much better at karate.